The Epstein files are destroying Democrat careers all across the country. But yesterday, those very same files destroyed a CNN career like never before. Kaitlan Collins walked into the Oval Office thinking she had a gotcha moment for President Trump. Instead, she walked out humiliated, exposed, and looking like the partisan hack she's always been. What happened next was so brutal, so perfectly orchestrated that even her own network had to distance themselves from her. And it all started when she made one catastrophic mistake. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, celebrating yet another day, a wonderful day in Trump's golden age that you made possible back in November of 2024. So if you want a front row seat on how you continue to change the world in ways you never even imagined, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It wasn't even remotely fair. A career-centered, narcissistic liberal versus the Godzilla of politics. During a press conference in the Oval Office, President Trump was asked about the latest casualty of the Epstein files that he ordered released. And ironically, it was from across the pond. So a British reporter had asked him about what he thought of British politician Peter Mandelson just announcing his resignation from the House of Lords amid a deepening scandal over his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He's actually facing a potential police investigation for misconduct in public office. What we're finding out is newly released Justice Department documents revealed that Mandelson shared market-sensitive government information with Epstein during the 2008 financial crisis, including advance notice of a 500 billion euro bailout, which while this guy was serving as UK business secretary, and Epstein ended up transferring like 75 grand to accounts linked to Mandelson between 2003 2004. So looks like he's in a lot of hot water. And of course, he's not alone, by the way. Did you see Melinda Gates, Bill Gates' former wife? She threw him under the bus after it was revealed that he got STDs from some of Epstein's victims and wanted to feed Melinda antibiotics without her knowing. And she said in an NPR interview the other day that she hopes those girls get justice, implicating her former husband in those abuses. But regardless, Trump was fielding questions on the fallout from the release of the Epstein files when Kaitlan Collins of CNN once again inserted herself and tried to make it all about her.
You talked about Democrats who were in there. Elon Musk was also in there, and so was your Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and correspondence that he had with him. Did you read those new files that were published by the Department of Justice?
I didn't. I have a lot of things I'm doing, a lot of things I'm doing. I don't know. You mentioned two names. I'm sure they're fine. Otherwise, it would have been major headlines.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more transparent?
The fact that they thought they released too much. I heard that, and you tell me something else. No, I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really, now that nothing came out about me, other than there was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
What would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten
You are the
justice?
worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. She's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile in your face. You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you're not telling the truth, and you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you. Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned health care, and
ouch! Again, there's no one like Trump. I mean, the legacy media simply can't compete anywhere near his level. Oh, and by the way, when Trump's staff showed the press out of the Oval Office, check out Kaitlan Collins' demeanor. She got told she never smiles, and she's got a scowl on her face as she leaves the Oval Office. Again, you could not have scripted that better. Now, make no mistake. Kaitlan Collins is nothing more than a female version of Jim Acosta, right? The ultra-liberal woke activist disguised as a journalist, acting, pretending to be the White House CNN correspondent during Trump's first term. Kaitlan is playing the same role for Trump's second term. She's super lib. She actually had to delete a Twitter post, an X post she uploaded that basically promoted a fundraiser for Luigi Mangione, right? The guy accused of murdering that healthcare executive. She was obsessed, along with Democrats, with the supposedly wrongful deportation of Kilmar Garcia. I mean, she's just your typical insufferable cosmopolitan liberal. She's everything Trump despises. And for her to bring up Elon and Howard Lutnick in the Epstein files like that, that was obviously the final straw for Trump. Yes, they're in the files, but there's nothing that even remotely implicates them in Epstein's sordid activities. And that's what really got Trump's ire there. It's pretty clear. Trump was in the midst of highlighting how all these Democrats, like Larry Summers, the former Treasury Secretary under Obama, an ex-president of Harvard University, he had to resign from Harvard because he was exposed as basically being a fanboy of Epstein's. Even asked him for dating advice. Or that Virgin Islands delegate who had very troubling ties with Epstein. She's a Democrat. I haven't even brought up Bill Clinton. But Kaitlan Collins, in the midst of that, deliberately tried to implicate Elon and Howard Lutnick in the nefarious activities that these Democrats have been shown to engage in. And then when Collins had the gall to bring up the victims and use them as human shields and all that, that's when Trump just went off. He dropped the hammer because he knew exactly what she was trying to do there. She was trying to implicate Elon and Lutnick with the victims, and he wasn't with abusing those victims, and he wasn't having any of that. And it looks increasingly like the American people are done with that as well. And that's because, if I can pivot here, we just had 4 special elections yesterday, and the results were simply astounding for the GOP. Wait until you see this. Take a guess at what this is. This is absolutely amazing. I'll give you a hint. The older we get, the less we hold on to heat. So imagine being stranded in a broken down car in the middle of the night and having to walk for help. You know, a simple rainstorm, even in the summer, that can mean hypothermia. And so that is where this little beauty comes in. I'm going to bring it out. I kid you not. This is a full-size, heat-reflective emergency sleeping bag that actually fits into the palm of your hand. I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely amazing. And you heard it right. I mean, it's an emergency thermal sleeping bag that can keep you warm down to Arctic temperatures. It's waterproof. It's windproof. It's bright orange, as you could see, so you could be spotted in a disaster. And look at this thing. It's like 7 feet long, 3 feet wide. It's incredible, but it fits in your glove compartment. I've never seen anything like this. Sierra Madre, the genius creators of this emergency sleeping bag, made it small enough to fit in your pocket, your glove box, your junk drawer, your go bag, whatever. But it packs such an amazing punch. I sweat in it anytime I get into it. It's amazing. And I made sure to get a whole bundle of them for all my family to keep in their glove compartments. And now you can too. This week, the Patriots over at Sierra Madre have to clean out their warehouse before a new shipment arrives for the new year. So they're marking these puppies down over 59%. So you heard that right, 59%. Click on that link below and get one each for your whole family and save a bundle before the sale ends. Oh, and I almost forgot, the 10-pack, it ships free. So you're double your savings. So don't wait. I mean, these aren't available in any stores or big box retailers. And the only place you can get this warehouse clean out deal is if you click on that link below right now. There were a number of special elections yesterday, 4 to be exact, where we saw some pretty stunning GOP overperformance. The big one was for an Alabama state house seat. The Republican Kristen Nelson crushed her Democrat opponent with 85% of the vote. Now that represented, and this is what everyone's paying attention to, that represented a 28-point overperformance for Republicans since 2024. It was a Trump plus 42 district, so obviously super red. But this vote margin came in nearly 30 points higher than in 2024. So that's extraordinary, and it certainly flips the script on that fluke win you may have heard about by a Democrat just a few days back in Texas, in a Texas state house district. It's a double-digit red district where the Democrat was able to sneak in and basically steal a seat because no one came out to vote. If I recall, back in 2024, it was literally like 500,000 people came out to vote in that district, 400,000 or so. And in this last election, it was just tens of thousands. So nobody was interested in it. So don't worry about it. The Democrat will lose by double digits in November for sure. But it was a bit of a shock. And yet another example of just how incompetent the establishment GOP can be, as well as conservatives, at least in this case, Texas conservatives, just frankly being tired of elections. They didn't care. We got the White House. We got the most powerful position in the world. We're changing the world. Who cares about some dinky Texas state house seat that, and again, they're a legislature that doesn't even meet. I don't think they're even going to meet before the next November election when we boot that guy out of there. But whatever concerns people may have had over that loss in Texas, what happened yesterday should assuage those fears. Because here's the key. When you compare that Alabama race with how the GOP did in the 3 other special elections for New York state seats, the average electorate turnout yesterday was Republican plus 3.5. It was Republican plus 3.5. Now, if that were to hold, analysts predict that would translate into Republican plus 6 electorate in the midterms, which would be an absolute Democrat bloodbath. Again, that's if that plus 6 electorate were to turn out. And special elections are rarely, if ever, harbingers for what's to come in the midterms. But that said, as the esteemed election analyst Seth Keshel has pointed out, at this point, when we're looking at the midterms, neither side, either Republican or Democrat, has either a high ceiling or a low floor. Neither side has a high ceiling or a low floor. And that's because partisan gerrymandering has solidified the vast majority of seats in both red and blue states. An astonishing 91% of congressional seats are basically a lock. 91 seats. Seth sees 201 Republican seats basically guaranteed versus 195 Democrat seats. So that leaves 39 seats up for grabs, with only about 19 of those 39 truly toss-ups, because those 39 lean either left or right. And that's before, by the way, any more redistricting, or the Supreme Court's expected VRA decision that would overturn voting rights amendment that's been used to racially gerrymander seats on behalf of Democrats. That could net, if they overturn that could net the GOP, according to Politico, upwards of 19 to 20 more seats. But until then, until that decision is rendered, Seth's analysis found that if the GOP wins 11 of the 19 seats that are true toss-ups, they win the House. They win back the House. So in the end, it really comes down to these 11 seats, and they're in states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, Texas, Arizona. So very doable. So all of that is to say that if the GOP gets their act together, both its legislative act by passing Trump's MAGA agenda into law, so there's something to vote for, and get out the vote network in gear like we saw in 2024. So if we have an incentive to vote, and if they have the infrastructure to vote, this could be a midterm elections for the ages. It's our job to make sure precisely that's what happens. I mean, after all, just think of the scowl that'll be on Kaitlan Collins' face if we do.